Hello, welcome to another typology interview. We have Chris here. Hi, Chris.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. You?
Yeah, good. Nice to have you. So,
Yeah, thanks for
yeah,
having me.
awesome. So, when did you start typology?
About a decade ago, I took some random online test. I think like literally everyone on the internet got INFJ. I didn't really think anything of it. I was just like, yeah, this seems like, because they're written to be pretty like, like anyone can see themselves in these descriptions,
Yeah,
especially
yeah.
like in the online tests, like, years ago. This is before 16 personalities.
Right,
And so I read it. I was like, yeah, sure, I'm an INFJ. And then I kind of just like moved on. And then
right,
about 5 years ago at a job, they had the official MBTI instrument. They had like a certified trainer and they were doing like a full class where it was like they had a bunch of exercises and it's so that like sort people in different like groups. It was like NF, NT, like these kinds of things. And they would
right.
like different thought exercises to kind of like convey like the differences between like all of the different like dichotomies and stuff like that. And I got
Right.
ENFJ. And
ENFJ, but still an
yes,
NF. So you matched NF at least.
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah. And so that made a lot more sense. And so and whenever they gave us our results back, they had like the dichotomy, like the letters, they had like these little bars and it was like a slider bar and it had like percentages. And the thing that was like really interesting to me was that my TNF were like almost exactly 50-50.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was like just like this doesn't seem like FE. So I started
Yeah,
researching. So I started researching and I was just like, if I was FE, you would think that that like bar would be like maxed out
right.
a little more.
Exactly.
And so I started looking more into cognitive functions. And that led me down a really weird rabbit hole that like it got to the point where and this is like it got me to the point where I overcomplicated it and I couldn't see myself like objectively anymore. And
Right.
so I started reaching out to like different like online like typology creators who would do type you for money. So I reached out to like Personality Hacker and they typed me as ENTJ. Um,
Wow.
yeah. And so but whenever I looked at the functions and the way that they explained it, it made sense at the time. And my typist was explaining to me, like all these like different things about, like the child. And so like the way that they approach the system, it makes sense that I could be that type because I am on the TE and FI spectrum. And that
Right.
was one of the things that I realized why I was not an ENFJ. Because you
Right.
can't be an ENFJ if you're not using FE, and
Right.
I don't use FE. Um, so yeah, and now we're here. I fell into objective personality. I was at this point where I think before I had discovered superpowers, Dave, I looked up I was looking up just ways to figure out how to type myself more objectively because my issue was that I just wasn't seeing myself clearly and I needed the tribe to tell me.
Yeah,
but
funny how
I
that works.
yeah, but I like I needed to trust the tribe too because like if I didn't
Right.
respect your opinion, I was like, no, like I don't want to actually. Thanks for your opinion, but no. And so I
Right.
was like this issue where I was
So
like,
that is TE. That sounds like TE, where like you want the tribe to tell you their thoughts and you want to respect their thoughts.
right, yeah, and well, the only thing with that though is that it got like a little rude because I was going to people and I'm like, what type do you think I am? I'd be like, okay, thanks. And or I would try to teach my friends and like my husband like teaching them like cognitive functions and I'm like, okay, so now that you know these, which ones do you find me like, and like they'd be like,
Oh
oh,
wow.
I think you're this. I'm like, no, I can't be. No, 'cause my husband's like, I think you're an INTJ, and I'm like, no, I'm not. Thank you.
Right.
And then like moving on to the next one, but looking back, that's me gathering, right? Like I'm gathering like the tribe's
Gathering
opinions and
tribe, yeah.
like I'm looking for patterns. So like I'm like, okay, you say this, and like okay, so it's like almost like there's like this like bunch of tally marks in my head, and I'm like I'm not actually looking for their actual opinion to tell me specifically what I am. I'm looking for like where the patterns are, and I'm like, okay, that is the objective truth of what I am.
Right.
And I wasn't really finding success that way, and it was also just kind of like weird for me to kind of reach out to like a childhood friend or like my mom, just be like, hi, I'm going to teach you all of these things all at once, now type me.
But right away, that seems more double. Like because of the T and F balance that you said, I would have thought maybe it'd be a double decider. But like the process you were going through, like trying to compare the patterns to
Yeah,
reality, it sounds very double observery. Yeah.
yeah, no, I think it's more double observery just
Yeah.
because of the ping pong, but
Yeah.
I think
No,
the
like
reason
the way you.
why
Yeah.
I think the reason why it was double decider was because it was also being filtered through me, like how I felt about it and how it applied to me. I wasn't going to the tribe and be like, thank you, tribe. Now that I see, you know, the objective truth, you have helped me, and now I know the answer and I can move on and the chaos has ended. But like I
Yeah.
just kept the chaos going because I was like almost enjoying, I think, the game of the back and forth where I
Yeah.
was just like,
Yeah.
cool, thanks for your answer. Gonna take some time to think about it. You know, next.
So, so where
That
did
was
you get at
chaos.
the end of that?
The the type from Dave or my
Like
own type, my
your
own
own
stuff
type
process.
process where you're asking everybody and teaching everybody how to type you. Yeah.
Oh, what type did they think I was?
Yeah. Like what were the patterns that you found?
Um, it was really interesting because it depended on like who, and I started seeing patterns, and this is how I know it wasn't objective because the things
Right.
you realize, like especially with the systems, you realize that like everyone is biased, even those, in fact, especially those who know you, because they see
Yeah.
this version of you. And it's like my husband sees me in a certain way, and it's like he'll
Yeah.
describe me and talk about me in a certain way, and that clashes differently from how someone who knew me 5 years ago saw me and
Right.
saw me interact, and, would describe me and stuff. And so I was reaching out to my childhood friends, my current best friends, a lot of my professional peers, and just like I'm seeing different patterns, but I'm seeing the patterns like in that same bucket. So if, for example, with my family, I ask my family, I'm seeing the same patterns with my family. If I ask the
Right.
people from my childhood, I'm seeing these same patterns in my childhood. So for example, my childhood friends, they saw ENFJ. Even though whenever I explained FE and FI and
Right.
I didn't want to influence them too much and be like, oh, but I'm actually FI. And I was just like trying to I didn't want to like push their opinion
That's a
over
crazy huge journey that you were going through. That's like a lot of effort you put
yeah.
in. Yeah.
I
Wow.
mean, I'm like very driven whenever I want an answer. I will
Right.
do anything and use whatever resources I have available if I have like this hunch that I need to find an answer. Like it is like obsessive levels that I will take in order to find like the right answer or to solve a
Wow.
riddle that, especially like as it pertains to like my identity, myself, which
Right.
again,
Yeah. And, okay, so then what did you give to OPS when you were typed?
I actually, so this is very interesting. I had this really weird perspective where I went in and I was just like, I'm not going to get emotionally attached to any type because I
Right.
knew that if I went in with any sort of expectation, I'd be really disappointed because I have this ability to where as soon as I decide on something, like that's it. Like I'm not going back, and it's really hard. I'm unmovable. And that was like that was probably a sign.
Yeah.
I had realized that I was probably an F or SF. I had actually thought that I was an IP. Um, I
Right.
was thinking that I was an ISFP, and if I wasn't, then I was a weird EJ.
Right.
Because I knew that I had play. But the thing that I didn't
Yeah,
realize is
everything you were describing is just pure play. Like everything, gathering the
yeah.
information from the tribe, it's all play. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I knew that it was play, but I actually thought that it was like really high blast because especially whenever I was reading like the descriptions like on the website and like the class website and stuff, a lot of the things that were describing blast were me. And so like just how
Right.
I was interpreting it. And I was like asking my husband, and he also was like, yeah, definitely like
Yeah, I
blast.
don't get a blast from you at all.
Yeah, and it's,
Yeah.
and it's really weird because like whenever I got my type back, I was ended up being blast, and I was really
Wow.
confused
That is
because
confusing. Yeah.
well, it was confusing because I have no issue getting started, but I think I think for me the reason why I am Blast is because it's filtered through all of the other functions in animals first, right? So you start out at the top, like think of it as like you're starting at the top of a mountain and you're like going down before you get to the bottom. The bottom
Right.
is like your goal where you want to end up. So I'm starting up here and like each hoop I gotta jump through is like what I have to do in order to get to the bottom. When I get to the bottom, it feels really good. So I have to start out and I need to gather, research, what do I want? What do I need? How do I need to do it? What are the ways I can do it? What are the pros and cons? And then immediately I'm like, yes, I want this. And it goes down and then like it filters through self. And then I run it through the tribe. I'm like, tribe, what do you think? I need your validation. But I
Right.
also wanted to, I also want to agree with it. And so like I want the tribe to validate my ideas, but only my ideas. I don't want their input. I want their input to validate like my ideas. And as soon as I get the tribe, I'm like, thanks, tribe, and then I get started. And so I've
Right.
always had like I've never had an issue getting started, but I do whenever I have to do things that aren't interesting to me. So if I immediately try to get started without doing all of the, hey self, what do you want? Hey tribe, is this okay with you? Do you think this idea is good? I can't get started. So for
Okay, yeah.
example, like at work, if I get assigned something that that conflicts with my values and is not interesting, or I don't respect it, so if it's like grunt work and I think that it's rather uninspiring and boring, I'll get offended and I don't want to do it. But not only that, but I also don't know where to start, because if it's not something that I can like obsessively wrap my mind around as though it's like a riddle that I need to like solve fully, then I'm not interested in it and I won't get started. Or if I do, it's begrudgingly. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm saying right away, I'm not getting any blast from you any way, shape, or form. Like I would say, even in your top two, like just the
See,
way you're. Yeah.
I thought that I was like play blast or blast play,
Right.
and third, and I thought that it was consume last, because
Consume last.
I thought that, yeah, I was first being an ENFP
Right.
and consume first. And that's actually something that like that was the hardest part about my annual assessment, that I had a hard time digesting, because everything by like, almost all descriptions of consume, I'm last. Like I don't want to watch videos ever. Like if anyone links me anything, I am notoriously known from all of my friends and like exes and my husband and my family. They link me something, I won't click it. I just, unless I feel sorry
Yeah.
for them or it feels important to them, then I'll click it. Cause I'm just like, well, I don't want to like hurt their feelings. Like if my
Yeah. The
sister's linking
tribe. Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
but I
Right.
don't want to. Like even though my sister's linking me some video, we have a corgi, and like everyone seems to think because you have a corgi, they need to link you literally every video that has corgis in it, and it's like kind of annoying because you're just like, okay, we get it. Some other people have a corgi and they made a video of them. Then.
Right.
But like they're always linking it to you because they're like, hey, I thought about you because you have a corgi and so do they. But I don't want to. I want to watch that.
Right.
So, I felt like I was consume last, but I've been trying to think about it differently. I think if consume is research or looking for opportunities to improve
You,
or
you
better something, then I'm like consume,
you're also
because that's
speaking very
my biggest.
logically. You're also speaking very from a T perspective. You're giving reasons and yeah, like it doesn't
Well,
sound F at
if
all.
if it helps, I had wondered if I was actually like an ENFP jumper, like play first. But I keep getting kind of caught on like where I fall like within like the tribe self spectrum. Like I'm trying to be like objective about it, because like I want to be aware
Yeah.
that I'm like I want to be aware if I'm peacocking, and then so you fall into like the middle trap of thinking like,
No,
because
I was
if you go in
even
the group,
thinking
you're
I
like,
was
guys, I
even
think,
thinking TE. I was even thinking TE, but anyway.
well, yeah, no, it's like,
Yeah.
but, you know, it, I see this trend in the group where someone will get type, and then for various reasons they'll try to process it, and they'll be like, I don't think this type's right. And they'll
Yeah,
go in the
yeah.
group, hey guys, this type isn't right. And the group's like, are you sure you're not peacocking?
Right.
That kind of stuff. And then you're just like, I don't want to be that person. So I'm like, okay, maybe I just need to take some time, put aside my biases, compartmentalize them, lock them in a closet, don't think about them. Look at this truly just objectively. Like, this is what I know, this is what I know for sure, and this is unmovable because these are facts. And what is the missing information, and how can I like apply myself and figure out like what the real answer is. But the problem is like when you're dealing with things of self, like you literally don't know. Like
Yeah,
you
but like
just
everything you just explained is really cause and effect. Like if this, then this, then this, and this is the evidence. And yeah, it's like really, really T heavy what you're doing. Yeah.
I mean I don't know. Maybe I'm play first. I don't know.
Right. Okay, well, okay, let's talk about your functions and maybe we can get a little closer. So you're
Yeah,
supposed to
yeah.
be lead FI?
No, no, no. So I am my full type is double feminine, which I agree with that one.
Okay.
Double feminine, any FI, and then I am consume play.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah,
So
no,
you're an
I'm not. No.
ENFP. You're considered an ENFP. Okay.
Yes. No, like a pretty stereotypical ENFP when you break it down, because I think
Right.
consume and play is pretty high in there, and blast is considered to be like
Right.
almost
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah.
telltale sign of like an ENFP. Like they don't want to fucking do shit. Oh, sorry for my
Right.
language.
Okay, so then tell me about your NE. Like so you see yourself as a lead intuitive and you're doing double decider stuff. Even though you were explaining to me the whole thing you were trying to get from the tribe was this double observer. That's interesting.
Yeah, no, like I said, the NE and the SE. So to take a few steps back real quick. So the one of the things that I had determined like as close to fact as I can be like confident with when it comes to like these kinds of things. Before I had gotten typed, the things that I was certain was that I was TE and I.
Right.
Or TE, TE, FI, and maybe NE, are NI, but
Right.
I knew
Yeah.
for sure that I was on the like TEFI spectrum. Like
Yeah. So at
without a
least
doubt,
that's
I knew
right.
that I'm
Yeah.
not FE or TI. Like my TI is awful. I'm married to an ENTP. He's like the like quintessential like ENTP.
Right.
I like completely just overwhelms me at times because he'll get too TI and I'm just like, whoa, buddy, I don't understand this weird abstract logic. Can you like put it in terms that like, realistic or reality terms or show me or something
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. Yeah.
The weird thing is that I thought that I was SC over SI. I never considered SI for myself. In fact, whenever I was
Oh.
considered if I was an IP, I actually thought that I was an ISFP, like a high play ISFP, like a weird
Yeah.
one. Um, because I thought my biggest issues were like tribe self, like or how does a tribe see me?
Okay,
How do
but
I
like,
treat
okay,
myself?
let's ask about your function. Like in the moment around you, and when you're like doing something and you're in that zone, do you see a lot of patterns happening around you? Do you see all of the different possibilities of paths you can take and things like that?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't think of it in terms. Maybe I do. Like, there's a possibility that I'm not perceiving it that way, but that's actually what's going on. I see things like as in like gut hunches. Like, and I've seen the most me whenever I was looking through like traditional MBTI, just
Right.
because it's like I'm very tunnel vision. Like, I look at things and I'm like scanning. I'm like, this one, and it's like my FI is like this compass, and as soon as like I shine like, in that direction and I'm like immediately like I know and I'm like, this is it. And then I just like bulldoze
Bulldoze through.
and
Yeah.
I
So
just like, and
SI can do that too, but like
yeah,
that would be a higher SI in your stack than just like because NE would be like looking for more possibilities and not wanting to lock onto a single one, right?
well, yeah, but I do have masculine any. So as far as I can tell, maybe that's what's going on is that my masculine any, because it's more willing to kind of like die on hills. So it's just
Right.
like I pick a lot of heels to die on. So maybe I'm looking through and I very quickly look at assess the possibilities, and then my brain's like, out of all the possibilities, this one, and then I'm like, okay, now that I've decided on this one quickly, I can go. But I
Right.
don't have this sort of like analysis paralysis that I see a lot of ENFPs that I anecdotally know in
Yeah.
person. Like, I've worked with an ENFP. I worked for 2.5 years with an ENFP in my actual team. Love the guy, but he was the most disorganized dude I've ever met. Like we had two reoccurring team meetings. We had like a weekly stand up on Mondays at 11, and then we had another meeting at like 1 p.m. like another day. Reoccurring. We're talking these meetings had been reoccurring for over a year. Somehow managed to forget them and like poorly budget his time, and he would be off eating a late lunch whenever we're looking for like him to like come to this meeting. Which is like really bad at responding to emails he didn't care about or doing anything he didn't care about. When he did care about something, like get out of the way, he will obsess and do it as best as he can do. But he
Right.
mostly just kind of sat there and did his own thing and was poorly organized. And so it's like when I think of ENFPs, I think of that.
Okay, I see.
And
Well,
and
I am getting
I don't really
SI.
relate to that.
I am
What's
getting a
up?
lot of SI from like the story you're telling, like the specific example, and you're going deep into the experience, and you're not talking in general terms about your
Yeah.
history. So like that is SI to go into specifics about the past.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. But yeah, no, so you had asked me a question about the functions, right? How I saw them. What
How
was
you
the
saw your
question?
NE basically? How is
How I
your
saw my
NE
NA.
working?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So as far as I can tell, I use my NA to improve. So I have like this like really like my brain, if I could kind of like categorize it in some sort of way, is I am focused on like ideas and improving ideas and systems. So I work in like tech and marketing. So it's like whenever I start a new job at a company, for example, I immediately do like hours and hours of research before I ever start, before I ever like walk into their doors.
Okay.
And my goal is to like know everything about them as I can so I can be
Right.
them.
That is
So
consumed.
as
That
soon
is
as I come
consumed.
in,
Right.
yeah, and that's consume, right? And then I come in and I already have ideas about everything that they're doing wrong or inefficiently, and I know how to fix it. And so I come in and I'm like, all
Right.
right, this could be better, and this process sucks, and you don't even have a process for this. What are you doing? Let me fix this. And like I immediately hit the ground running because it's like I know what to do. But I
I see.
don't do that. I can't do that if I don't consume. Otherwise,
Right.
I will feel really stressed. I can't kind of go with the flow. I don't have the ability to like adapt and make plans as I'm like, in the
Right.
moment.
And, okay, so then how do you see that FI? Like, can you tell me like what your three favorite foods are, or what your three favorite games are? I know you're into gaming.
Um, I mean, I
No.
guess
Yeah.
like I can if I think about it. I'm not like super like married to them, but yeah, like I could probably like immediately like list some things, some foods and games. I wouldn't like think too
Yeah.
much about it.
Is it like a
Um,
feminine FI then? Because of
no, masculine
no
FI.
masculine.
It's
Right.
just
Oh yeah, double
I
feminine
can't,
you
but
said. Yeah.
yeah, but I can tell you things that like matter to me. I'm just like,
Right.
for me, like I don't value like making a list of my favorite foods. Like I could tell you,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not gonna spend a lot of time thinking about it because it's just not
Okay.
worth the energy. I
Right,
don't
right.
care about it.
So then how
But
does it express itself, your FI?
um, it tends to express it, I think, with like paired with masculine any. I tend to kind of like I said, I've used this phrase earlier and I use it a lot at work. I die on a lot of heels. So
Right.
for example, I'll let because I work in marketing, sometimes we'll get some assets or various like campaign details from like our like global publishing teams, and they'll trickle down to us. And I'll look at it and be like, this is bad because of this, and this, and I'm not doing. I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it because I don't respect it. This is FI, I think. Kind of manifests similar to my husband's TI, where it's like, I do not think this is a good idea. Therefore, I don't want to do it. This is not worth my energy. So it's like almost like a filter that I'm like, that everything I do is like being, like filtered through. I see
Through,
it
but
more almost
not
like a
not through your
passive
thoughts
ability.
though. Like not through
What's that?
logic, not through a logical way, through a value way.
Yeah, through like a value. Do I value this? Like whenever I'm doing something, I'm like, first, do I value this? And so
Right.
that was the discussion I was saying earlier. Whenever I go to the tribe, I'm like, hey tribe, I made this for you. What do you think? And the
Right.
tribe's just like, and they'll give me some feedback, and I'm like, thanks for your feedback. In my brain, I'm like, this is bad. I don't want to do this personally, so I'm gonna do what I want to do anyway. Thanks,
Right.
tribe. Gonna do this anyway, and then I'll do it. And
Okay.
I think that's FI, and that's
And
more masculine FI because I'm unmovable sometimes whenever my masculine NE and my masculine FI like combine forces, I am just completely unmovable as soon as I find the hill to die on. Like I
right.
won't budge. You have to give me very good, strong reasons with facts for me to like actually believe you.
Interesting. And
And
what
like
about
I respect facts.
yeah, yeah, and I noticed that your TE is actually pretty strong, which might be why like your balance between the T and F came up in those tests. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking too. And that's also something whenever I've also asked people to like assist me in like typing myself, people can't seem to figure out where I fall on like the TF spectrum. So that
Right.
also kind of, again, more evidence that I'm probably like an EEP just because of like the strong balance between the two. Because
Yeah,
I do
EP
feel
or
like
IJ,
they're
yeah.
both, yeah, I feel like they're both like easily within like my wheelhouse. It's like I
Right.
can just pick one based on the situation, based on like what I want or need or what I'm trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
So like for example, there are times um and maybe this is like not necessarily like related to that, but it is FI related. So I've been thinking of this thing, and I've kind of like been like mentally describing it as like the ultimate like DI sacrifice. It's where I silence my FI like values and needs, and I just compartmentalize it, and then work only with the tribe, but it's for a greater DI purpose. So it's
Right.
like I have this ultimate goal of doing this. In order to do it, I have to go and pray into the tribe and do a lot of things that make me very uncomfortable, and I find distasteful or unethical, like all these like different things, and I'll silence those values in order to achieve what this ultimate like dream or goal or objective that I'm trying to achieve. And ultimately it's being filtered still through my DI. My DI is I want this, I need this, I'm going to do it no matter what
Right.
the cost. And
Y-
so like, I think
Yeah,
that's
it
again
it does
FI.
also make sense that you're chaos over control because of just the way you're going all
The
in.
back and
Yeah.
forth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, do you feel that you don't like to be controlled or to commit to things, or and that you like your freedom more than you like to be in control?
No, I see.
No.
That's the part about EP that I hate. I hate the
Right.
stare. That's like one of the reasons why I was like, as soon as I got my ENFP results back, I was just like, like that was the part that I kept like hiccuping on whenever I was trying to process it. Is I am a control freak, and again, I'm married to an ENTP, so
Right.
I'm the
Okay.
one
Yeah. Yeah.
who
Yeah.
so it's like I can compare. I'm like
Relative to
he's
him, you're a control freak.
yeah. Well, no, it's not relative to him. No, it's in general. I am, but I'm able to see like a true EP and compare, and then I'm like, I don't do that, but I don't
Yeah.
know if it's just for other reasons. But
Well, you know how
you
they
know,
always say like there could be 100 EPs in a room, but someone's always going to take the control seat because
yeah,
it's a role that has to be played. So it
yeah,
sounds like that's what's happening with you and your husband. It's your husband.
yeah. But I've always been
Yeah.
this way.
Oh,
But I've
okay.
always been this way. I'm saying that being married to him highlights that I am not, in fact, like the. He's very stereotypical. Like you know, I like to commit to things as soon as possible so I don't have to think about it anymore. I want things off my mind so I can move on and like I've got
Right.
closure and it's not weight on my mind and I can just like, get it out of the way. Like I like commitment, I like structure, I like schedules.
But
I
you like it for the sake of less structure. You like it for the sake of new. Like I want new stuff. Okay, this old stuff, let's decide quick and keep going.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's actually a really fair assessment. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I'm getting it off my mind so I have more bandwidth to do what I care about.
Yeah.
So I don't have to think about it anymore. I'm like, you know,
Right.
structure, you know, I like structure and I'm very organized, but I don't think I was inherently this way whenever I was a child. For
Right.
example,
So
I
you
wasn't
feel
organizing things in like middle school. This is
yeah.
something I think I learned as an adult. In order to achieve what I want to achieve in life, I had to figure out how to be that. And so I became that.
But
But
yeah, it also
probably
seems
not
like
very natural to
you
me.
feel like these decisions are gripping you and controlling you and you need to get rid of them as quick as possible. And so you want that freedom of not having to make decisions. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, yeah, that's, I haven't thought about it exactly that way. And I think that
Okay.
that's extremely apt. No, thank you.
All
Like you
right.
helped me figure that one out. Yeah. So
Okay.
I guess that's the true. Like I want that out of the way so I have freedom to make decisions that matter more to me later.
Right. Yeah. So what about the double decider stuff that's going on? Do you see that happening a lot?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yes. I don't know. Like I think I do. Maybe like it's one of
Right.
those things too where, you know, because we're supposedly like blind to our like first and last functions, right? So that would mean that the middle functions are the ones that we're most obsessed with. And that
Right.
makes sense that I'm going to be like obsessed and feel like a lot of my issues are going to be like decider issues, like, because I'm having to constantly like go back and forth and choose.
Yeah.
And maybe that's like the chaos thing that we were talking about, like not the lack of commitment, because I can't just pick one side. I've got to determine, you know, got to weigh pros and cons. Like, is this something that I care about or that people need me to do, or can I just nope out and they can do this on their own? Like,
Right.
so even though I feel like I have a lot of EJ like issues and stuff, I feel like I feel like a lot of that is just highlighted between my obsession between like my middle two functions, where
But
I'm
like,
just being
can you navigate a situation where the tribe is asking you to do something and like you want to do something else?
yeah, I can do it. Again, it just depends on the consequences or like the these.
Right.
So like the tribe's asking me to do something I don't want to do, and they're just asking me like if a tribe's like, hey, do you want to go to an escape room? I hate escape rooms. I'm gonna be like, no, sorry, I hate escape rooms. And they're like,
Right.
oh, but you would make it so fun. I really need just one person. Please come. Like they would have to really apply the pressure for my
Right.
femininity to be like, oh, I don't really want to, but I'll do it for you, I guess. But you
And
know, and like, but
yeah.
like if there's a situation where you know, like friend needs help moving out to their apartment, and I don't want to. I have plans already, and I've already decided what I'm going to do with my day. But they really, really need help. Like I can navigate that. Or if I'm in a work situation, for example, I will definitely put the tribe's needs above my own at work because work is inherently a tribe thing for me. Like
Right.
I'm living like I work in a blast play or not blast play. Well, yeah, blast play sleep environment. Like it is very like SITE. Like we're constantly like just in spreadsheets, PowerPoints, like deadlines, meetings,
Right.
details, organizing data.
Yeah.
Um,
Cool. Yeah. We're running a little low on time, so I wanted to ask a couple more questions before we finished. I wanted to know about your sleep. So you're put to sleep third. Do you feel that's like a hobby of yours or?
so that's what Shannon and Dave said. I had talked to them about like how my recharge, like whenever I'm just like tired of people, my recharge activity is to play like solo games where you're kind of like you play God basically. So you're in charge of. So there's a like games like Banished or probably a different kind of example like Civilization, like Civ 5,
Right.
basically where you have a bunch of pieces that you're trying to control. You're controlling like you're managing like resources, and you're thinking of all the possible ways that things could go wrong like 20 turns from then, like hours and
Right.
hours from then. And for me, like that sense of control and the risk, it's very fun. And
Okay.
so they told me that is my sleep, because for me like I am personally enjoy the feeling of control, but in like this very like this environment where I am in charge.
Yeah, I get
And so
that.
that's like
What
the
about what about in the terms of that it's FISI, like that it's like what happened and how you feel about it, stuff like that. Like, are
um
you able to process and go back and look at your life and what happened and what you feel about it?
sometimes I am really bad with emotions. I
Right,
tend to compartmentalize. I don't like feeling them. It
right.
feels like I don't have control, so I don't like to. I just compartmentalize. Occasionally, whenever things are like safe to process, I will go back and process them in a sleep
Okay,
way. But I generally don't look at my feelings that way. I tend to just avoid and find ways to distract myself. So, like if I'm feeling very like emotionally like
right,
just like raw, like I'll go play that game to distract me from thinking about my emotions.
right. Yeah, that sounds like a low
It's like
sleep.
it's like a replacement. Yeah, it's not the healthiest.
Yeah, that sounds like a low sleep. I don't know sleep last, but it sounds like a low sleep, whatever that is. Yeah.
I mean, I've wondered if I was like blessed and then the same sleep, but
You're,
people have said
yeah,
I'm
I don't
too
know.
self-aware. So
I can't see you being blast last, but again, I don't know how you are on a normal
I
day.
don't know.
This could
I
just be
think
play here. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that's the other thing too is um I think I misunderstood a lot of like blast definitions.
Right.
Thinking that I was blast, and I think it's just play. Like, it's like a lot of the things that I do, I'm using the tribe, I'm playing with the tribe, I'm bouncing ideas back and forth. Like that is my favorite way of getting information, sharing information, working like collaboration. Like
Right.
I can't do anything until I've gotten the tribe's validation because I don't like that helps me like because otherwise if I'm not like working with the tribe, like what's the point?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
doing it for myself. It's like if I use this example with Dave and Shannon, if I paint like this, epic masterpiece and I ever consult the tribe about it and I never share it with anyone, it just stays inside my house. What's the point of it?
Yeah.
It's just a painting inside your house. Congrats, you did something for yourself, I guess. Like you need for me, I would, consult the tribe, be like, oh, I'm thinking about this in this way. What do you think of this idea? Okay, cool. I'm gonna take your feedback and incorporate it. Okay, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. I get the analogy. Yeah. Okay. So the last question, just before we sign off, tell me about your SI. How have you worked on it? How do you see it? How do you see yourself failing it in the past and maybe, yeah, getting better at it now?
Um, I don't know. I don't think I'm that bad at SI.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, I guess I'm peacocking, but not in a way that's like conscious. I'm really good at organizing. Like I'm the first person to volunteer or just do it without asking to like create spreadsheets um
Right.
for like things like projects when we're going on vacation for like work things. So I'm not entirely certain.
Like
Like I don't
creating it,
have
but
issues.
refining it and staying with it and keep working on it after you've created it.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's it then.
Yeah.
Like I'll do it and I'll be like, all right, I got started, we did it, and then afterwards it gets boring unless like the project continues to evolve and it's my way of seeing the details so I don't have to think about them too much. Again, freeze my bandwidth. If all my project details are right there in a spreadsheet every single day on a project I'm working on for 5 months, it means that every day I come in, I don't have to like assess where we're at with the project because I'm able to reduce bandwidth spent working on
Right.
SI on details because it's all there. So by taking
Right.
5 or 10 minutes every day to update it, then I don't have to, then have later on have like a tidal wave where I'm like, oh, all these details, I'm overwhelmed and I don't know what to do.
Right. Right. Okay.
So
Yeah, that's
I guess
cool.
that's my SI.
Like just a little bit of SI helps you just keep going and keep being free. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. To think to explain more because you put a thought in my head. I guess maybe that's actually it. Is I'm good at SI, but I get bored with it, and I'm like, okay, I started it. You can finish it, or it can die. I don't care.
Right.
It served its purpose. I'm done with it. I've moved on, and now I'm organizing a new idea.
Right. Right. Awesome. Thank you very much, Chris. It was really nice to have you. Thank you for coming.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.